Hi folks, I wanted to show you the basics of creating a Google custom search. Generally, there are two reasons why you would create a Google custom search. One is that your website is large and you want to help people find the stuff that might be buried within multiple pages of your own website. Two is you want to guide your users into finding information on specific sites that you've identified. And this could be for younger users where maybe you want them to find information on animals. And so you want to restrict their inquiry to major institutions, zoos, aquariums, various different reference portals on the animals, and you don't want them just going and typing Python in a regular Google search. And so this is going to give them immediately satisfying results and eliminate the noise. And so it would be very valuable for young children, and it's also valuable in many cases K-12. So let's get started. You have also two choices. You can create a Google custom search engine free, and basically nonprofits are allowed to turn off ads. So you want to investigate that later, or you can do a Google site search paid. Let's start with the free custom search engine. And you'll notice that I created a few already for the high school when I was working there. And just today I set up one on the U.S. presidents. Just so you know, the primary source page was one I created for my AP US History students who were always doing document-based questions and wanted to search across the major portals. And those portals consisted of the Library of Congress, the National Archives and Records Administration, major old books and documents of U.S. history. And so all of those I was able to put in one primary search, and it worked beautifully. Today, and also the documentary and nonfiction films, there were so many nonfiction film portals that I set up one search for my teachers who were looking for any particular film, and they could find multiple places or the one place that it existed, and that became a very useful tool for teachers. And so I just started by creating the U.S. President's page or the U.S. President's search. And just going back a step, if I would do that by hitting add, and then I would name the search, choose the language, and then begin to add the sites that I wanted the Google custom search to search. Once I did that, it resulted in this beginning of a Google custom search engine on the U.S. presidents. So I typed in the name of the search engine. I added a little bit of a description. I could add keywords, politics, U.S., and I could play around with the periods, presidents, so other people could discover my Google custom search. Notice that this one does have ads, and we can address that later on. We can also make sure we get the embed code and the public URL. I've chosen to put image search on, so that, especially because I've included the National Portrait Gallery, and I've also decided to enable speech input. You can choose multiple languages, but basically what I did was I clicked add, and then I went to bulk add, and I already had a list of websites, basically portals, including Bartleby's, the inaugural addresses, the White House site, the portrait gallery from the National Portrait Gallery of the Smithsonian, the White House, biography.com, and the National Presidential Debates, Fordham Sourcebooks on U.S. History. I could absolutely keep adding to this list, but this is my basic, my beginning list. And so I added all of those to this by just clicking the word add. And I could also add labels, and I could also enable people to filter for things like speeches and other such things. But let's just do a quick and dirty kind of exploration here. And then we'll go back and we'll test out our search engine. Actually, before we do that, let's take a look at a couple of things we can do. Look and feel allows us, within some limits, to create a look for our search box, And you can see the options here, and we can save, and we could get the code from here if we like. And then we could also look at the various different themes, which allows us at least a little bit of kind of aesthetic pleasure here. And then we could do some further customization by choosing a variety of colors. I'm going to go with the purple, and I think I'll leave the background color white, and I'll hit save. And again, at all of these points, I could get code if I wanted to. And you could even play with search features. I love having autocomplete on because it allows students to adjust their spelling and make suggestions for them. So there are a lot more refinements you can do, but this is just a very quick demo. So let's test our search engine out. Note that we can get embed code, as I mentioned, but let's just go directly to the URL and see how it works. All right, so it is loading. Notice that we did do our little purple border here. We could have done a lot more. I'm going to search for Abraham Lincoln in Google search. I don't need an and I think I'm going to look for speech and maybe put an asterisk here. Let's see what happens. Now we do have ads, but I do understand that you can turn them off if you're a nonprofit. So under the ads, what you're going to see is, yes, indeed, I'm getting the inaugural addresses. I'm getting his last speech. The images that I asked to show are showing. I'm getting 10 pages of results. And as I'm looking at my results, they're coming from a variety of different sources, including the Library of Congress. I would expect the speeches to come from, a limited number of places, but we're seeing the National Archives and Records Administration, as well as the Library of Congress, and I'm getting some decent results here. And so I'm thinking this worked very well. I can also sort it by date, although I suspect that most of our stuff, actually no, I think we're getting some new additions for relevance by date, and this is going to be more meaningful, perhaps, depending upon the types of Google custom searches you set up. Another thing we enabled at the beginning was images. Now we're seeing images along with our results, our regular results. But say, what would happen if I clicked on images and I just got image results instead of text results? Well, now we're seeing image results that relate to Abraham Lincoln's speeches. So I figured the search engine went pretty well, and I'm hoping that you'll find some value in creating Google's custom searches for your students, and also for suggesting that students create a Google custom search on their own for an information need that they're going to have that will be sustained over a period of time. Thanks.